Hello, this is Mike Aguera. We're going to be demonstrating an application. Hi, this is Mike Aguera. We may be having some problems with that other Fuse recording. At 23 minutes, it may be overloading the Fuse servers. So I decided to also make a quick 10-minute YouTube recording. So this will be pretty fast and to the point. We built a client invoice entry and payment tracking system. And the two basic pieces of functionality were getting the invoice out to the client and then getting and receiving payment. So we built the application on a pretty smart spreadsheet that starts off with client information, keeping track of timesheets, a pre-formatted, fairly intelligent invoice, an accounts receivable spreadsheet that's based on the timesheets, a pre-formatted statement that's also intelligent and that keeps itself updated. And so we've got this control tab, which is where we access all the VBA functionality. So let's go ahead and start with client information.
Client information. Please enter or update client information fields. Then press OK button to save or cancel button to discard changes.
Okay, so one of the decisions that we made early on when Roche and I built the system was to make it extremely usable, both for training purposes and for the purposes of accessibility. So we built both sounds into the system and voice modes. A terse voice mode, which announces the screens and brief description of errors and system events, and then a verbose or training mode, which really talks the user through the entire application. So when we were looking at the sounds, one of the things that we noticed is that there were 11 system events, things like pressing the OK button or the cancel button or printing an invoice or emailing a statement. And so we selected a family of sounds, and then each of the sounds is consistent throughout the entire application. So let me take you through this form. This mirrors the client information that we saw in the spreadsheet, and many of the fields are edited. For example, client zip, if we go in here and enter an error and then go to the next field.
Please enter a numeric zip code.
Okay, so the system will catch the error and then explain it to you. Let's do a couple more. Let's do zip plus 4.
Error. Please enter a valid 4-digit zip plus 4 value.
Let's go ahead and edit client point of contact telephone number.
Error. Please enter a complete client point of contact 10-digit phone number.
And let's go ahead and try client point of contact email address.
Error. Please enter a valid client point of contact email address. This must contain a period.
Okay, where it made sense, we used option buttons, for example, in client payment terms.
30-day client payment terms selected.
We used the DT picker for engagement start date. One of the functions of the system will be to send a client invoice through an email. So we've got the invoice message here along with the salutation. Hi, Bob. Here's this week's invoice. Hope all is well with you. Looking forward to finishing this project. And then we've got one for client statement. We've got a closing and a signature. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other functionality.
Updated.
We select a file location to store invoices and statements.
Select file location. Please select the file folder in which to store client invoices and statements.
Okay, let's go ahead and choose a folder. I'm going to go ahead and choose my AA505 project folder.
File folder selected.
Okay. Now let's go ahead and enter billable time.
Enter billable time. Please enter billable time for the current invoice time period.
All right, let's enter several values in this field. Let's try something that is not numeric.
Error. Please enter an integer value for weekly billable hours.
Okay, let's try something 39.99.
Error. Please enter the whole number for weekly billable hours.
Okay, let's go ahead and try a very large number.
Error. Please enter the whole number greater than 0 and not more than 64 weekly billable hours.
Okay, turns out that I plan to work 45 hours this week, so let's go ahead and enter that.
Updated.
Okay, and if we go into timesheets, we'll see that for this week from the 15th through the 21st, I've got 45 hours. And if we were to also go to the invoice, we see that it's already been populated with 45 hours and extended out. Let's take a look at sending an invoice to the client.
Client invoice. Please select from the following actions. Save the current invoice as a file, print the invoice, or email the current invoice to the client.
So we can see on this screen that it tells me the current invoice period, hours billed, the hourly rate, the extension, invoice due date, the fact that the file has not been saved, but it has been emailed. Let's go ahead and save the invoice to a PDF. This is taking just a minute. Here we go. Invoice saved.
Invoice file successfully saved.
And if we go ahead and take a look, we see that the invoice file is there. And here's the invoice. Okay, let's go ahead and print the invoice.
Current invoice printed.
Okay, and in the background, you can hear the printing. Let's go ahead and send an email.
Invoice successfully emailed to client point of contact.
Okay. And if we take a look, at my email account, here it is. Bob, here's this week's invoice. Okay.
Cancel.
Let's go ahead and record client payments.
Client invoice payments. Please select which client invoice payments have been received from the open invoice list, then press the OK button to update.
Turns out this client owes us a lot of money, but we had a great day today. We got a bunch of invoices. So let's go ahead and record everything that we received.
Updated.
Okay, and it now tells us that there are only 3 open invoices. And if we look at accounts receivable, we see that all those invoices were marked as received. If we look at the statement, we see that it has been updated appropriately. Let's look at save and print and email client statements.
Client account statement. Please select from the following options. Save the current statement as a file, print the current statement, or email the current statement to the client.
Okay, the most important thing here is that we popped up an image, a GIF image of a chart that we developed, which is showing the trend analysis of this client's accounts receivable. And in this case, let's go ahead and save it to a PDF file.
Statement file successfully saved.
Let's print it.
Current statement printed.
And let's go ahead and email it.
Statement successfully emailed to client point of contact. Cancel.
And that's our basic functionality. We really enjoyed building this application, and Roche and I thank you very much for listening.